Hello, everybody. Welcome. Thank you guys so much for coming to another Tuesday night. I am Kat, the nurse flipper. In case you don't know, I am joined by my co-host, Rod, picking and punching over there. And below me is Johnny, Cajun Roots Reseller. He has been on before, but I think it's been well over a year since he's been on, so it's been a long time. And catty corner to us is Snoop Dougie. He is who runs the Reseller podcast for List Perfectly. So I'm going to let these gentlemen introduce themselves and let you know what they specialize in, where you might want to ask some questions that we normally might not know the answers to from these two guys. So here is Johnny.
Hello, I'm Johnny. I'm also known as the Kajun Roots Reseller, LLC. I do a morning show Monday through Friday at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Usually it's Q&As on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. It's open to any panel, whereas on Tuesdays, it's all about eBay. On Thursdays, it's Q&A all about Poshmark, and that is what my co-host, and that is Glamour's Closet off of Poshmark. And then on Fridays, it's usually about anything and everything, and we kind of talk about the best things that sold. I also do a bingo every Monday night at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as well as every Wednesday, I host a Hump Day auction. And then for all my members of my channel, I do host two featured member channel auctions. This one will be the first one I do on the 15th, and I do one the first Tuesday of each month and the third Tuesday of each month. And I also co-host with Who's Your Stacker with the Who's Your Stacker Bingo, Silver Stacker Bingo on Saturdays at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I basically use Flip. I'm not on any other ones right now, but Flip. I just released a video today on that. And I also specialize in helping others on my channel understand and learn the platforms as best as we can, including YouTube and StreamYard as well. And I do a lot of how-to videos. I do have all my videos in playlist. So hopefully you can check it out. And if you have any questions, don't forget to hit those comments in those videos. I'll be glad to answer them for you and help you with your questions. And
Perfect.
that's all, folks.
Here's Dougie.
Top that, Doug.
I will try. What's up, everybody? I'm Snoop Dougie, Doug Smith. I know some of you and hope to get to know others of you. I am the director of content for List Perfectly, so I can answer List Perfectly questions. I do sell on eBay and Mercari. It's more of a hobby for me, but I'm more community oriented. I can answer social media questions. As Kat said, I run the Seller Community Podcast for List Perfectly. I manage the blog. I do a lot of seller events. I worked at eBay for 4 years on the seller community team, so I can answer some eBay questions. If you want to hear wacky eBay conspiracy stories, I can tell you those too. But I can answer a lot of content questions, social media, how you could use social media and content, obviously podcasting questions, marketing, community, and some seller questions as well. I can definitely give a perspective on all of that. And excited to be here.
We are happy to have you here. So Rod has marked the questions for me. Absolute Fines coming in first says, hey guys, any tips on how to sell and ship furniture? I have been wanting to sell some pieces, but have held back because of inexperience in going about shipping.
I don't ship big items, furniture items. I usually put those in my antique booth. Because I do sell on eBay, Mercari, Etsy, Poshmark now, and I do have two antique booths. When I do find nice pieces of furniture, I don't ship them, I don't list them, I just put them in my antique booths. And that's what I usually do.
And so, Johnny, it's interesting you should say that, because my best friend from junior high is an antique seller, and he has always told me, and hopefully you'll agree, that people that are going to buy this big stuff, it's a particular audience with antiques or furniture, and they're willing to pay the shipping to get the stuff safe. And so obviously it's pricey to package and ship. The UPS store will package and ship anything. It may be pricey, but the best thing I can say is the right buyer will pay what it takes to ship that stuff safely.
Yep.
So it's a trade-off. And the biggest thing is you have to weigh out, because if you do want to ship furniture, there is a lot of work and a lot of stuff that goes into it, especially if you're going to package up yourself. So you have to make sure that the time invested in the supplies and everything else, that you're getting a nice return on your investment. So I mean, that's the first thing I would say first and foremost, because if you're shipping furniture, it's taking you a half an hour to package something up and you're making $40, that may not be worth the best of your time. But if you're making a couple $100, then that'd be worth it, you know. Kat actually ships a lot of big items she has in the past, so she would probably be better way to handle this. You know, probably the biggest things I do ship blow molds and I ship other things that are about 40 inches. But they're pretty light, so they're easy to ship. Just get boxes. But most of the time when I do ship big items, I have the Frankenstein box. So I take 2 boxes, cut in half, stick them together, tape those boxes up. And it is time consuming, but you know, sometimes you have to make your own boxes that way.
Yeah, so if you watch my what sold video, I sold a $3,000 painting last week of Romero Brito artist proof, and that I shipped via U-Ship. That was actually the first time I've used it in over a year, and it seems like gas prices have come back down, so I was able to get it hand delivered from Florida to Massachusetts. I paid $300, and that's actually what I charged the buyer in shipping, but I had originally charged for UPS, but that painting was over 4 feet wide and it was $3,000. So I asked the buyer if she was okay waiting for me to find a freight company. And the crazy thing was the freight company ended up getting it to her before UPS would have. They picked it up from my house the next day and it was to her in Massachusetts the day after. Really, really crazy. So U-Ship, you can either ask for bids from different people. You just go on U-Ship. You can actually link the eBay listing if it is already sold. And if not, you could put a picture, and you need to know where it's going from and where it's going to. So when you're listing that on eBay, what you need to do is put freight shipping. That is not an option on your phone. So you would need to save it as a draft and come back to the computer to finish the shipping. Pick freight and put a note in your listing for a freight quote to message you, but you are going to have to actually put that item up there to get bids to have an approximate price. I would say if you're East Coast, going along up and down East Coast, most things are going to go for $300 to $500, where if that went to California, I probably would have been looking at $500 to $1,000 in shipping. So luckily it was on the East Coast, because I charged her for UPS and I told her I would pay the difference, but I had room in my profit to do so. So what Rod said about having the money there, for me, it needs to be over $1,000 profit for me to even think about doing freight. Except pieces I already have. So I have some end tables that are smaller, but all of the bigger Ethan Allen pieces that I've sold, they sold for over $1,000, and freight was anywhere between $300 and $600. But you can't really quote that to them unless they message you, give you their zip code, and then you would have to wait to get quotes, or they could arrange the shipping themselves would be another option. A lot of people, if they buy, like Doug said, there's a certain audience. A lot of these people buy a lot of furniture online, and they might be able to arrange the freight shipping themselves and just cover the cost of it on their end. And you just give them the address. So you also could require the buyer to arrange your shipping for you as well. And I have a video on U-Ship, guys. I have one video on U-Ship. I actually show the guy coming to the house, picking up an Ethan Allen piece. I walk through how it works. So that will give you a little more information. But for me, furniture is going to go freight. I'm not going to I might try and pack up one of the end tables because they're square and I think I have boxes they could fit in. So I might do an end table, but anything else I am not going to do. And I see a late fee from Mark OG&Z. He's late. He's not that late. It's only 15 minutes.
No,
I was late. I was late. So it is like 90 degrees in here. So I might be like dripping sweat by the end of the show. I'm hoping it's because the air conditioner was on eco mode, but if not, I might have to investigate more. But it is very, very hot in my shed right now. So I'm going to give Mr. Mark a dolphin. Here you go. And I didn't upload rods either. I'm slacking on that. Here you go, Mark.
Mark is a game of life. He's always late.
I'm trying to be better about that. That's one of my things. I'm really good at always being late too, but I'm trying to be on time for things. Miss Diane said, I need to reduce my inventory due to space. How do I whittle down my items yet still keep up my sales? Obviously, I won't be listing new items for some time. So how do I keep things moving?
Well, for me, I use online YouTube auctions. I'm not sure if you would be comfortable with that, but I find that I have a lot of inventory. And so if I either list it on any of the platforms or bring it to the antique shop, I will take and even do online auctions like this one. I have several lined up already as guests on other channels. I actually don't sell on my channel. I host everybody. So I always make sure to go on other channels. And 9 times out of 10, I get rid of a lot of stuff that way. So to me, that's how I would handle it.
My wife's solution is to, so I've got bins stacked up in the garage, and she keeps threatening to call the junk guys to haul my stuff away. So I do have plenty of stuff to list, but so that's her solution. But yeah, I like that idea. I think, listing regularly, look at some wholesale options, maybe some bundles, big bundles. There are people out there that will buy a bunch of stuff. And there are a bunch of wholesale sellers out there. Yeah, and I need to reduce space too. Another thing to think about is how you are storing your stuff. I use stackable bins. I know a lot of people that use stackable boxes and like rolling carts, things like that. That helps save space. But call my wife and she'll give you the number of 1-800-JUNK.
All right. So the biggest red flag in your statement there with the question is that you're not going to be listing things for a while, but you want to keep things moving. And that is going to be the biggest mistake you can make, because when you stop listing, you're going to reduce their interactions on your account. There's 2 ways people search eBay. They search for newly listed items for things that are underpriced, or items ending that day to try to get good deals. And if you stop listing items, you're going to break that rotation of having items being listed and items ending that same day. So you want to keep listing. Now, one thing I do recommend that sellers do like once a year is purge. And there's multiple ways you can do this. Number one is go through your inventory and pull everything out. Right now we're in the summertime, so no matter where you live in the US, you can have a yard sale. So I would do a yard sale, clear stuff out just to try to move stuff, list it cheap, just try to push that out. Whenever you don't sell from yard sale, go through your inventory, and there's stuff that you probably have in your death pile that you don't want to list or you haven't listed. It's probably because everyone, including myself, I have stuff probably sitting in my death pile from 2 years ago that I just keep looking at. I'm like, I don't want to list that. I don't want to list that. So get rid of it. Take it to Goodwill, donate it, Salvation Army, whatever you got to do, because it feels good. I just took a whole truckload of stuff and donated to the thrift shop, and it felt absolutely amazing. So I highly recommend that you do the same there too. Also too, join Facebook groups, and you can go on the eBay platform. There's eBay groups that you can join in your local area and network with other sellers, because it might be, say you have a bunch of glassware and you don't like to sell glass because it breaks a lot. You may find someone in your area that likes to buy glass. So it's a good way for networking, good way to try to move inventory. Post up on Facebook as well, offer up, Craigslist. People that will just come in and buy bundles of stuff. So that'd be my recommendation to you.
Yeah, that is exactly what flagged me as well, was you're not going to be listing. You're not going to get sales if you're not listing. You can end and sell similar at least every day. I would at least do that at minimum, but I would still be listing. Otherwise stuff is just not going to sell. And I agree. I would probably have a yard sale. And if you really need the space, look at what you have and think about donating some of it. If you need the space that bad, and maybe purchase better inventory that will sell faster, check the sell-through rate. But you might have to let some of it go that isn't necessarily the best of inventory, which is hard. I know it's hard for me to do that because you spent money on it. But if you really need the space, you might need to think about that as well.
So real quick on this same question.
Go ahead, Johnny.
With that same question, I'm not sure if everybody's familiar with the eBay live auctions now.
Yeah.
You can only do it on your phone, or you can, I don't know how many people do it, but I don't, whatnot, like things like that as well.
That's once or twice.
Yeah.
A day.
I would, yeah, I would jump in on that too. Is like, I'm not sure what you're selling and where you're selling, but maybe expand your marketplaces a bit. Maybe try some different things. Yeah, live selling's hot right now. Maybe try that if that's the kind of thing you're into. And like Rod had said, maybe try some options on social media. Get up there, but maybe branch out a bit and try some different platforms.
Peace of mind goes a lot way. Purge it out, but stop sourcing, not listing.
Yep.
That's the biggest
Yeah.
thing.
There you go.
Yeah, for sure. Trish sent us a $9.99 super chat and said we have to give Doug all of the hard questions. All of the hard ones. I'm gonna give Trish a pillow fight because I think that this one is appropriate for Trish.
Is Trish coming to FlipCon, Doug?
She will be there, and I will see her tomorrow.
Oh, no. All right. That's good.
I will not. I'm going to kindergarten.
Oh, yeah, it's that time. Yeah.
It is that time. We went and met the teacher today. Yeah, we went and met his teacher today. And he got his teeth cleaned, so it was a busy day today for us.
Wow,
Tomorrow he has to go get his hair cut. So we're getting ready for school.
Wow.
Tracy wants to know if Photo Room can be used on PC. I'm going to go ahead and just answer this real quick and say, yes, it can be used on PC. And you use List Perfectly to list, and you have the Pro subscription. It's actually integrated in where when you upload your photos, Photo Room pops up and automatically does it. I only use it on my phone, but I popped it up when I saw your question just to verify. And they do have, you can just go to photoroom.com and it will work as well.
I love Photo Room.
Yeah, it's great. It's great.
That evil AI. Miss Sue would like to know, are you noticing shipping taking longer with Ground Advantage?
I actually find this even quicker. I do a lot of shipping even on the weekends, and they're getting their things like on Monday and Tuesday. I'm not seeing any effect on that, on my end anyway.
Yeah, I've seen some rumbling of complaints, but not a ton. So I'm not sure.
I think the question is, when isn't there a complaint about shipping?
Right.
I mean, let's be honest. I mean, anytime the post office changes everything, there may be some type of hiccups along the way, just because I'm assuming with their system, they were still taking eBay products doing first class, and they were still doing the Ground Advantage. So I expect there'll probably be a couple of hiccups along the way, but I mean, I would say for the most part, it's pretty smooth sailing, which gives me confidence going into the fourth quarter.
I have gotten multiple complaints from buyers, and I have looked at the tracking. I shipped a license plate last week to Cape Coral, Florida, which is south of me. It is now currently a week later in South Carolina.
Wow.
How you get from North Florida to South Carolina instead of South Florida, I don't know. But I also, on my Whatnot sales, because we sell 500 items a week on Whatnot, have had multiple Whatnot buyers messaging me as well that are used to, like, we ship out the next day. So it's definitely not on our end. But those Ground Advantage packages, I don't know if the post office is still trying to figure it out or what's going on, but we are seeing quite a bit that are taking longer. Also, Miss Sue, she's getting those questions in early. If you're not on YouTube or Whatnot, how important is it to network at events such as FlipCon, the Reseller Rally, etc.?
If you're not on YouTube or Whatnot, how important is it to network at events? I think it's very important. I have not had the opportunity to go to any of like the FlipCon or any of the reseller rallies, but I always hear of how people are having a great time and get to meet other people, other YouTube channels that are there supporting each other. I think it's a great way to network. Even if you cannot make these type of networking programs that they have together to get together, even in smaller groups, if you're in an area where you know there's other resellers, try to do a meetup, do some type of sourcing together, or just have a lunch together. Because I do that a lot up here with every day I'm finding out new people in our area. Or when I'm traveling to go to our lake house, like for example, I saw Dawn Two Hip Chicks came in the chat. We'll even stop and visit with them on the way, and we'll go sourcing together while we're traveling with other YouTube channels. So that's just another avenue that you want to do. If you know you're going traveling, try to set up some connections with others that are doing it, just so you can get to meet other people. I find it's very important, because again, we're doing this a lot of times. We're like me, I work out of a basement. This is I see 4 walls, just a small window above my head when I see the daylight. Other than that, that is it. So I think it's very important to get out. You don't want to be in your office all day long by yourself,
And Sue, that's a great question. This is right up my alley. So thank you. So seller events are important, but think of it in a bigger umbrella as the seller community. So the seller community is online and offline. It's great to go to these events. It's great to meet in person. It's great to network. It's great to meet, like if you want to meet Kat or Rod or Johnny, meet these YouTubers that you watch or these social media influencers. But it's great to network. It's great to get out. Like Johnny says, what we do is very solitary. So it's great to connect, but it's also great to connect locally. You don't have to travel to a big event, though you certainly can. And some of these big events now have virtual options as well. But also think of the online community, like you can connect on Facebook. You can go to meetups online. You can go to local meetups. eBay's got a ton of seller meetups, and there are a ton of seller meetups that are not just eBay, e-commerce meetups in your area. You can find them, the eBay related meetups at sellerevents.ebay.com, or you can go to meetup.com to find other events. And then just also search on Facebook and connect with other sellers if you're more comfortable doing it virtually. And Listing Party has a community called, or List Perfectly has a community called Listing Party, which is a 24-hour spot for sellers to connect. So, but definitely get out there. Connecting is important. Networking is important, to ask those questions and just, feel more connected with your community.
So it doesn't matter if you're on YouTube, if you're whatnot, if you have no social media, if you have 100,000 people on social media, if you want to be someplace, or if you want to get someplace, or if you have goals in place, it could be $100,000 seller, eBay seller per year. It could be you want to start a YouTube channel. These events are perfect to talk to people that have already done it. Okay, that's the biggest thing about these events. Is when I went to Prison and Profit event, that's the first time I met Kat. I barely had over 1,000 people on my channel. My goal was to grow my channel to help educate the public and do that. And I was able to network with Kat, Combo Picker, ADHD, Prison and Profits, like a lot of people there. And a lot of the people, Atlanta Pickers, a lot of those people come here all the time on this show. And it was great because I learned tips and tricks from them. Even though I've been reselling for 20 plus years, there's stuff that they were teaching me that I didn't know about, or things that I saw in their video. Maybe now I could talk to them in person about that. So that aspect's great about it. But also too is it, if you are not on these social media platforms, just like Johnny was saying, it's a very lonely place. So by going to these conventions, you're meeting other resellers. But when you meet these people that have big followings, like Kat has 70,000 people on there, you have other people here. Tornado has, 300 plus thousand on there. So they are networking with everybody in the reselling community for you. So you can go up to them and they can point you in the right direction or send people your way, that's a great tool to have. So these are worth their weight in gold. People look at it as, they don't want to go FlipCon because it's like $300, but I mean, your food's included in pretty much every single night. There's over $200 just in food. So it's worth its weight in gold. I highly recommend that if anyone here has a chance to go to any of these events, do it. Big or small, just a local meetup, just do it, because trust me, it will change your reselling connections and how you interact in the community.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it matters if you're on YouTube or whatnot. That interaction, when normally it's very, very solitary, like everybody has mentioned, you get to meet people in person that are doing the same things that you're doing and form friendships that will now be offline. Even if you're not on here, you're on here. I know you, I know your name. I'm sure a lot of people that are in the chat right now see you all the time as well. So it's nice to put faces to those names that you're sitting here chatting with week after week or in the comments. So you're on here. You are, because you asked us the question, but you don't have a channel. So you have friends in here that know your name. And I bet if you went to one of these events and told them that, there would be people that like, oh yeah, I see you in chat every week. Yeah. Sue said she almost went to LP in Phoenix, but the day job gets it. Take a day off of it. I went to the events when I was still nursing. I just took vacation. It's not, it's a 2-day event. And it's nice to get away. I went to the events when I was still nursing, though. I went to several events.
Not
All
to
right,
mention, jobs are overrated. All right.
They are.
Yep.
We got 2 super chats from the same person, from Miss Lisa. So we're going to answer her 2 questions first, and then we will give her a dolphin. So her first question is, do you list on eBay first or list perfectly first and then cross post? So Johnny, I guess if you're using Flip, you could say, do you start on Flip or do you start on a platform? And she's saying she finds it harder to start her listing off on LP.
Well, for me on Flip, I do some listings on Flip first, but a lot of times if I want to, like I just started selling on Posh about a week or so ago. So what I did was I integrated from Etsy and Mercari to build up my Posh. Now I did automatically list a few things already, like 12 items I started on Posh. But a lot of times I find it's easier because then you just start as a draft and it's easier to put it on whatever platform you want. So for me, you can, and I have done it before when I first started with Flip, but I find it to me to be easier if I was to list it on one particular platform, because now I can integrate it and import it into the Flip program. And then I just did a video I just released today on how to do it and the steps. And so for me, I find it easier to import it and then just put it on whatever platform I want. And for me, I find that is the best for me. But you can still list it on there, but I find it's just more work.
Okay. Beachwalker. So if you are importing from the start, I definitely recommend importing from eBay. But if you're listing, I also recommend listing within LP because it helps you distribute to your other channels much easier. And interestingly, I think you might be referring listing to eBay from List Perfectly. And it's like, eBay's made some changes with some drop downs. So there's some extra steps you have to go through when importing. So that can be a little bit of a challenge. But the other advantage is, starting with List Perfectly, you have your listing stored in there. You've got that inventory control, that inventory tracking. You have a downloadable backup of your listings and your images as well. So I always recommend listing from List Perfectly first. And then I can tell you there's a lot we're working on right now. There's a lot of big things coming. And then we are working on the listing process and updating the catalog. So it's going to be a lot more streamlined.
So for me, I prefer to list off my cell phone. So the reason for that is I take pictures, I list on the go. So if I'm dropping the kid off at school or if I'm waiting at the doctor's office, I always like to have pictures on my phone ready to go. So for me, I've done that for 20 plus years, or not 20 plus years, but I've done that for how long I listed for my phone? Probably 10, 15 years. Because originally I had to start from my computer back in the day, back in 99. All right. But when it comes to listing it, I prefer just do it from my phone. That's a personal preference for mine because I'll do all that. And then usually I'll start my morning off and I'll import all my eBay listings from the day before into my List Perfectly. And then I'll cross list them on all my platforms as I'm packaging up my items and other things. So I like to kill 2 birds, 1 stone. That's just my process way I do it. Doesn't mean it's right or wrong, but that just works best for me.
Yeah, so I am like old and stuck in my ways, and I list on eBay and then I put it into List Perfectly, or my mom does. I list it on eBay, my mom puts it into List Perfectly and then out to the platform. I have heard it would be easier if I do it on LP, but I'm very hard-headed and I just do it the way I do it, and I'm used to like the same thing I'm doing. And I know there are a lot of features on LP that I don't take advantage of. One day I will make myself try and learn them. So I am an eBay to LP person. And then her second question, where did it go? Hold on, I gotta find it. Oh,
and
okay.
Quick,
So
she's
she's
a question about the cost, but I'll go after. Go ahead.
Oh, I saw the question for the cost on LP, and it's 30 to 60, $59.99, maybe $69.99. And I have a code, the Nurse Flipper. You can get 30% off too. off your first month. And I think you will know in a month whether or not cross posting is for you. Yeah. So there's that. I pulled it up here. Hold on. Or Doug, do you know them off the top of your head?
Yeah, it's so there's the simple business and pro plan. Simple is 29, business is 49, and pro is 69. So, you know, it just depends on how much you're selling, what type of seller you are. And if you go to that, I'll put the link in again. It's listperfectly.com/pricing. That's a breakdown of all the plans and what you get. And, you know, obviously the pro is the catalog, but that's for bigger sellers. You know, business is for kind of your medium sellers. And simple is kind of for hobby sellers. And then, you know, you get different capabilities in each plan, but, you know, listings are unlimited across the board. There's no added fees, no upgrade fees, things like that. There's not a limit to what you can list. Just, you know, some of the features, I'd say. So I'll put that link back in there.
Okay, perfect.
But, real quick.
Oh. This is kind of related to that. She says she has a small store and she's thinking about dropping back to the simple LP because she's not making much right now. I don't think she would lose anything from her catalog, right? Just the features. The catalog would remain, right?
Yeah, all your listings will remain. It would just be some listing features adjustment. But yeah, you're not going to lose any of your items that are in there. You never lose. Even if you leave us, we still back up your items and you can come back and you've still got the stuff that's in your List Perfectly catalog if you choose to list that way. I mean, you can also cross post marketplace to marketplace, but we recommend doing it within the catalog.
Perfect. Lisa, because you are who you are, I'm giving you the beach super chat. Here you go. Eliza sent a $10 super chat. My first whatnot sale is at the end of the month. Any advice?
I don't do whatnot, so I don't know.
Well, Johnny, you could give her tips on live selling. I mean, it's the same thing.
The only thing I would advise, especially if you've never done from what I know in my experience, when it comes to anything like even whatnot, be prepared. It is a kind of fast pace. So if you haven't done it before, kind of practice, even if you use, like, say, StreamYard or any type of online streaming, and do it offline. Don't even don't go live, and then practice and get yourself familiar with not only your camera, but your setup. Because that way, one of the things I always tell those that I teach on how to auctions online on YouTube is have your thing, because I've watched a lot of the behind the scenes or whatnot. So say, for example, you have some tables set us up on both sides of your camera setup. On this side, have your items ready. Bring them to the camera. Once the time goes out and it's sold or whatever, you can still write your little notes. This is my best friend when it comes to any auctions that I do. Little notepads, sticky notes, because then when you're sold and you're done, you can either write your little notes, put it to the left. And that way you got a nice flow from right to left or left to right, whatever you want to do, just so you can get that constant flow. Because from what I'm seeing on whatnot, it is a constant flow. So once you get used to that, it's gonna be a breeze. And it's just a matter of using these little sticky notes to help you through it, to make it as easy as possible. Especially, and I understand with whatnot, you get an invoice and all that, but then that way you don't have to go searching for that particular item. Or I would even write like an item number or whatever you put in your listing, and then that way you'll have it on the side for when you do that product to pack for that person who purchased it.
That's great advice. And I do love Post-it notes for many things. But, you know, similarly to what Johnny said, is I would, first of all, have fun, you know, do some research, watch, you know, spend some time on whatnot, see what other people do. And keep in mind, some people do what are called silent auctions now. So they actually don't go on camera. Some people will just show their hands and, you know, just speak. So there are different ways you can do it. So do what's comfortable for you. And then the other big thing is always, you know, be patient. It's going to take you some time, but see if it's for you. Live sales are not for everyone. They can go pretty fast and get pretty crazy, but, you know, just experiment, have fun, research, and if it's not for you, just move on to something else. But I would say definitely try it, because Whatnot, eBay Lives, Posh Lives are huge right now.
So the biggest thing I tell you is Whatnot is not a reselling platform. It's a social media platform. I preach this. I stay on my soapbox each week and say this. What you like watching on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, when you're scrolling through, what stops you and gets your attention? You want to be entertained. Same thing as Whatnot. You want to be entertained. Okay, I've gone on the Whatnot streams where I swear to God, the guy who was selling, I thought he was sponsored by Xanax. He was just very monotone, just spending 30 seconds in between each, not prepared. So the biggest thing is make sure you have a video listed. Okay, use all the tools that Whatnot gives to you. So make sure first off, you should already have your auction scheduled. You should have all your items categorized in there and put like a 1 or 2, 3, 4 down the list, so that when people come in your stream, they say, hey, can you run number 3? Can you run number 10? Can you run that? So that way you're organized. Also, too, you can upload a video to there. You want to use these tools, because once you have the video in there, you can share it to your social media, and anyone else that goes in your stream can share it to social media. Also, too, depending what category you're in, you can actually boost your Whatnot shows. A lot of people don't know this. Okay, you can hit the little dots there and it'll show you, type in how to boost your shows on Google and Whatnot, and they'll show you can pay $2, $3, $4 to boost your show to get an extra push on those. So those are really key things. And then when your auctions are going, interact with your chat. Okay, answer questions, talk to them, see how they're doing. Someone comes in, they have a unique name, talk to them, because people are there to be entertained. Okay, and make sure, and when you're first starting out, I highly recommend that you run 15 or 20 second auctions. Don't run 30 or 60 seconds, because it's like, when you go to a restaurant and you're sitting there for 30 seconds waiting for someone to come up to you, it feels like a lifetime. Well, that's how your buyer's going to feel, and they're going to leave. So run 15-second auctions, because you don't have a big following, and if someone bids, it's going to add extra time on there anyway. So I always run 15-second auctions, and if not, it's going to go by fast. And he made a good point about preparing. Make sure you're prepared, get everything set up, know what you want to do. If you have a significant other that can be there to help you out too, that always helps. Kat usually has someone there with her daughter and stuff like that does help out. Having the extra, they can help with the chat, they can help with other stuff. So
yeah. So I think you were in last night's Whatnot with me, Eliza. I would go ahead, if you don't have it scheduled, schedule the show, come into mine. I allow the, advertising of your next shows, and keep pushing it every single time so you get more bookmarks. And Aaron's right. Watch what habits you like from other sellers. Everybody is not the same. And I do it one way. It's the way I like it. But if you have been watching me and hanging out in shows, we have had to change the way we're doing it, because I've had a few shows that nobody's buying anything. And so I switch from my OCD, I have to go in order, and I take requests and just totally go off cuff. I have stopped a show and said, you do not want to buy any of this today. I'm going to get something else. And I did. And I had a good show. And then 2 days later, I ran the stuff that nobody wanted 2 days prior, and it sold like crazy. So just know it's going to take time. And even after time, you still might have crappy shows. So just know that. Keep building it up. Keep advertising. If it were me and I didn't have a following, I would be in all of the bigger shows with the most people in the category I'm selling, which if you're selling jewelry, and I would ask them if I were allowed to advertise my show. This is what I did when I was little YouTuber. I was everywhere. Everywhere you went, I was there. I would do the same thing with Whatnot. I would be in every bigger jewelry show, ask them, may I share my show? If they say no, be respectful, and I would probably move on to the next, and just spread the word about it. If you're on Instagram, if you're on Facebook, share it, get those bookmarks out. I would catalog as early as you can, so that people can search and find the items that you have. So if you have some branded stuff, you can get those search, like they're bookmarking, maybe even pre-bids. And yeah, being open to change. So Bama Pickens says being open to change. not just for smaller seller guys, even those of us with the big following, I have to be able to recognize that my audience does not want what I have right now. That is just, if it happens, I am not going to just stop the show. I have hundreds and hundreds of pounds of jewelry. I will go find something they do want. So just go with the flow, but know that it's probably not going to happen fast. It'll take you time to build it up, but make sure, yes, cataloging it, running an order, and paying attention to the chat.
You know, one of the biggest important things, no matter what platform you're on when doing auctions, you have to read your chat. The chat will definitely tell you what they're buying and what they're not buying and what they're not interested in. So yeah, read your chat.
Also,
yeah, pay attention, be interactive.
Since she's having her first whatnot, put it in the chat what day and time it is, so that way we can maybe get you a couple extra followers to check it out. So
yeah, and Eliza's been around and she's in my whatnots too. Again, I don't remember if you were sharing it. If you're not, do it. Every single giveaway when you're in there, share your show, get it out there. And yeah, listen, I'm feeling froggy. I'm going to give you Yvonne's Mermaids and Merman. Here you go. Thank you, Eliza, and thanks to Yvonne for letting me. She made that just when she actually ran the show for me while we were in Phoenix. It lists perfectly, and she said I could keep her super chat in my bank of super chats. So thanks to Yvonne for that as well. Let's see what else we have. Miss Patty says, Rod, have you done anything as nefarious as Logan Paul on Saturday when you wrestled?
So people that don't know what he did, he actually had brass knuckles in his hand and hit the guy to win the match. So yeah, when I wrestled 98% of the time as a heel, which is considered a bad guy. And I have done everything from brass knuckles to powder in the face to low blows to hitting with steel chairs, kendo sticks. There's even pictures online of me stealing a gentleman he was an amputee. I stole his fake leg off a fan during the wrestling match, and I actually used that while the ref's back was turned to win the match. So yeah, I've done a lot of horrible things. Rod Grimes, the scoundrel, is a scumbag, and Rod the reseller is a great guy, but Rod Grimes is the scoundrel. He's a scumbag. All right.
I wanted to put this up here real quick. Two Hip Chick says, with Whatnot, don't be afraid to move items to the buy it now. Once you tried to auction, they did not sell well. That has not worked for me. But what I've been doing is I've been bringing like 10 mid to higher end items, like $20 to $50 starts. And I sit them in front of the camera and show them each giveaway and say, these are $20 or $50 starts, and I can run them if you like. Last night, I sold every single one I sat in front of that camera because I never know when I'm going to have buyers that want the higher end stuff. So for me, me and the buy it now and Whatnot are not friends, but it works for some people. So try all of these different things. Putting beautiful high-end stuff in the background. You know, you're new. You might not want to run it, but put it in the background where they might ask, hey, what's that necklace back there? And you can say, oh, this is a beautiful, like mine were J. King pieces, beautiful J. King turquoise necklace. It's a $50 start. Just let me know if you want to run it. No pressure on them, but here's the start. It is higher than most of what I'm running. And I sold out of hand-painted Russian lacquer brooches last night doing that exact thing. Jeremy has a follow-up. Jeremy, where the heck have you been? I haven't seen you in a long time, buddy. Jeremy wants to know if you have noticed a sales bump because of ground advantage.
I did a big complete turnaround when that happened. I even did a video on it as far as fixing your shipping policies with eBay. On eBay, when they changed the global shipping, I had that issue. I couldn't figure out what was going on. And then I had it again when they had the ground advantage. So yes, to begin with, I had no sales. We'll kind of find out they were duplicating my listing of policies. And then I would go in and I noticed that behind your policies, which if you go check one of my videos I just recently did about that, about changing your shipping policies, because eBay was making copies and then adding letters and numbers behind your original, confusing when you go to list, your listing of policies would not show up. So for about a week or two, I could not even list because every time I tried, then I had to figure out how can I delete it. So I figured out a way. And I did it, and I did a video on it. So you may want to check that out. But for me, since that happened and I got it all corrected, I even went to all flat rate shipping. I stopped the calculated shipping completely, and I found that my sales went up. So I have changed it. I had to change it. Notice that after I did the changes, it did boost my sales.
All right. I agree with Johnny because I have not used Ground Advantage, but it sounded like a fantastic answer.
So I would say it's probably because they just, anytime that eBay updates anything in their system, it's going to change the algorithm. So it takes a couple weeks for the algorithm has to relearn every single time. And now you're starting to see a bump from it because it's been about a month now from that. So it's very fitting. It's perfect timing to say that because it usually takes anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks for them to get things, work at the kinks and get things moving. So I would say it would make sense that we're starting to see stuff. I'm starting to see a bump in sales. I started, I said I was last week that I was starting a listing challenge to try to get as much listed in the month of August because I'm going to get an extra push for fourth quarter, and it's been paying off. So it could be a combination of things, but yeah, I'm definitely seeing a bump right now.
I am not seeing a bump, but I did because I saw eBay's explanation, and we haven't gotten this question since it's been a little while since it changed. I went and edited all 6,000 of my listings to Ground Advantage from First Class, and eBay said they cannot switch our listings from First Class to Ground Advantage because First Class still remains a service of the Postal Service for letters. So it's still an option on eBay for those sending letters and cards and things like that. So what I said before, I'm taking back and saying you do need to either make policies. I have not. I've heard too many horrible things, so I've chosen not to make policies. But I did go bulk edit 2,000 at a time. It was only 3 edits, and I changed everything to Ground Advantage. Now, that is going to include, I changed all my priority to Ground Advantage, but what I am doing when I ship them is if they are $50 or more, I switch it back to priority. The price difference is not that much. So that is what I am doing. I switched all 6,000 listings. They're all Ground Advantage. Grandma Mary, my hair was in a bun right before we came on, and I just undid it and put a barrette in it, and it's true messy hair. I did not make it to look messy. It really is it's just here. Elizabeth is already at FlipCon. Rod will be leaving at 5 a.m. to be heading that way. So I think a lot of you will be there. Real quick, to bulk edit, you just go to your listings, and at the top it says edit, and you click it, and mine, because I have 6,000 listings, says 1 to 2,000, 2,000 to 4,000, and 4,000 to 6,000. And I click it, and then it has the options, and I changed shipping to Ground Advantage on every single one of them. So it was not very hard on there to do that. Oh, I think we had Miss Vicky sent us a 99-cent super sticker. I'm going to give you the little Dalton Dolphin. I couldn't think. My mind went blank. Here you go.
Oh, cute.
That is so long ago, though. He's gotten so much bigger now. It's crazy. Yeah. He is. Last night on my Whatnot while I was live, he was trying to negotiate with me because he wanted a Sprite. And then he didn't want to lay down by himself. So he said if he didn't drink a Sprite, could he wait and lay down with me? He's like a negotiator already. He's like this little mastermind at negotiating.
I don't know where he would have got that from.
No clue. He's like, so you're giving me options Yes, I'm giving you options. Lawrence wants to know, do you have to register to all platforms before cross-posting on List Perfectly? So I'm going to throw this one at Doug.
No, you do not. So, you know, if you want to list on there, obviously you have to have an account, but you don't have to be registered to all the platforms. If you just sell on eBay, I mean, you can use it if you just sell on one platform, but you do have to be logged in. So let's say you want to expand to Mercari, Etsy, Vestiaire, etc. You do have to have an account and be logged in to Crosspost, but you don't have to register for every platform.
Yeah, just the one. Once you do it the first time, it'll prompt you to make an account on there if you don't have one. So it would take you to that in order to make that. But you would only make accounts on the ones which you want to cross post to.
Make sure that you guys are smashing that like button. We have 375 people in the chat and not enough likes. So please hit that like button, everybody.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Bob wants to know, what trade secret or superpower do you have? Share if you dare.
Mr. Bob. Who's Bob?
Old things new as Mr. Bob.
Oh, okay. Any trade secrets or superpowers do you have? Share it if you dare. Trade secrets or superpowers. I wouldn't say I have superpowers, but I do know, I've always was told, especially when I first started doing eBay, or you can always sell ice cubes to an Eskimo, so they knew I can sell and resell. So when I first started, my biggest thing is to try to buy as low as possible. So almost like Dalton, negotiate. But I like to bulk buy things, especially when I go to estate sales. So I think I have that very unique way of talking to people to where I can definitely get great deals in bulk buying, especially when it comes to either garage sales or estate sales.
All right. I like to say I help people tell their stories. So I think that is I hope that's my superpower. I hope I do a good job at it, but I enjoy helping people tell their stories. So, you know, that's what I do across a couple of different podcasts. The main one is the Seller Community Podcast. And I like to talk to people and, you know, get them to talk about themselves.
My superpower, I'm a networking machine. I can't tell you, when I go out yard sale, I can't tell you how many houses I get into, and I'm able to find those massive collections. And that's especially in mine. I actually buy out big collections. But I'm going to go on the other side of this one too, though. I'll tell you my kryptonite. So one of my reselling kryptonites is, because I'm really good at reselling, I know I can resell almost anything. Just like Johnny said, you know, when you do this for long enough, you can sell anything. So, and that caused me many times to overbuy, because I know that, you know, I can make a profit on anything. So it caused me to overbuy. And that happens to a lot of people once you start being successful. So that was actually one of my kryptonites for the longest time. Now you have to learn to leave. My new superpower I'm working on is leaving profits behind, because you have to pick and choose what you want to sell and what is worth your time.
Yep.
I'm coming. I was grabbing stuff to give away. It's almost time to give away some stuff. And I'm like pouring sweat. My superpower is finding the good stuff cheap. I'm good at buying. That is hands down what I am best at. I just need to get better at listing it. I'm actually happy. My niece, who has listed off and on for me, she needed to earn money. And I'm like, all I got for you is listing. So if you want to list, come list. And she listed 50 things today for me. Wow. They're in my drafts, so I have to make them live, and she's coming back tomorrow. So maybe she'll decide she likes it if she needs money that bad. I'm okay with that. So I need help listing. All right, let's go ahead. Let's take one more question, and then we're going to give away some stuff. Designs wants to know, what's your best tip for those who do live sales on YouTube? So I think Johnny is the main one here doing live sales on YouTube. So I'm going to let Johnny take this one.
I can give you a few tips, but the best thing is to make sure when you go to bring something to YouTube on an auction, one, please make sure you do your research on what you're bringing to your audience. 2, be prepared. Not only use those Post-it notes, but use a Word document and give yourself a item number, a small description. If you're doing a starting bid or a buy it now, do SB for starting bid, BIN for buy it now, and what is your price? And if you ever watch any of my auctions, when I am on any auction, that's the first thing you're going to see me when I'm putting in the chat is my item before I even describe it. You want to make sure you have that information in the chat because you want to make sure your audience knows by you bringing that item, you already know what it's about. You already know, what you're bringing, because then you'll get questions. And I've seen a lot of new people come on and not know anything about their product. Yes, I found that at an estate sale or garage sale, but don't ask me because I don't know. That's the worst thing you want to do. So those are my biggest tips. Be prepared, do your homework, and know what you're bringing to your audience. Be ready for those questions because you're going to get them.
Yeah, and I totally agree with Johnny, and I'll expand it a little bit. Do your research, learn how the YouTube auctions work, watch some, but also back to what we talked about with Whatnot is I think it's always important to have fun. Make sure it's for you. It may it may not be for you, and then again, be patient. Even Kim Kardashian started at 1 follower. Kat the Nurse Flipper started at 1 follower. At one point, but be patient, do your research, and try to have fun with it. But again, it's not for everybody, so it might not be for you, but just give it a chance.
And as Johnny said, if you make sure you do know your item, but if you don't know something about, if you're going to answer, if you're not going to know anything about your items, answer in a very entertaining way. So at least make me laugh, because
I don't know what the hell.
Yeah, there's times where I go on Whatnot and live streams where people are pick up a Ninja Turtle and they're calling it all kind of different names and that they're making stuff up on the fly, but they're having fun, they're entertained. So it gets people in the chat interacting and having a good time with it. So just have fun with it. Make sure your audience is having fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I do sell things I don't know what they are, but they catch my eye. They're vintage, and I would say if you don't know what it is, be honest about it. Don't try and make up some crap about it. You can like in a joking way, like Rod's saying, but let them know, I don't know what this is, but it looks so friggin' cool. I couldn't put it in a big lot.
I have a co-host every Wednesday. We love watching her because she does, and her name is Save Here First. Everybody knows when I sing the jingle, Ella, Ella, Ella. She is one of those that she gets these pallet buys, and she just wings it. I don't know what this is. What you call it or whatever. She'll call it whatever. And it's the way she does it that makes people laugh, and she's selling it, So you got to have fun with it. Yeah.
Yeah, we need to put this up here, and then we've got a $49.99 super chat I'm going to throw up there, and then we will give some stuff away. Katrina said, congrats to Tiffany Thrifting Vegas. The day after our last show, Tiffany did hit 100,000 subscribers. So very, very well earned, and big congrats to Miss Tiffany. Miss Vicky sent a $49.99 super chat and said she wanted to say a big thank you to Shagan. If you do not know, Shagan is I'm a Resell It. I am MARESELLIT. I'm at a spelling bee now. Shagan gave away $1,000 on our show, the last 2 shows, $500 each, the last 2 shows of inventory to viewers. Miss Vicky is one who won one of the boxes, and she sold 8 of the items he sent her for $160. But she realized she underpriced them because they sold in 15 minutes. So Shagan, I'm a Resell It, was here in the chat earlier. I'm not sure if he still is, but he is an amazing guy. He was on our show a few weeks ago. Rod and I met him at FlipCon. I'm thinking about FlipCon because it's coming up. We met him at Camp Listing Party. So Miss Vicky, I'm going to give you the original super chat, and then we're going to give away some stuff, guys. I don't have $500 boxes from Shagan, but I have some stuff to give away. Here is the original super chat. Super chat. All right, I have already got it pinned. Giaro Pack, which is a new company I have an affiliation with, gave me 100 packs of Daisy poly mailers for you guys. 100 packs. I'm going to give away 200 packs. Marcia and Mark, if you can throw Giaro Packs link up for me. Guys, you get 10% off with code The Nurse Flipper every time you buy off poly packs. They have padded poly mailers. They have cute ones, which is what I requested for the giveaway because these are my favorites. So I figure everybody else will like my cute daisies. So we're going to share. I'm going to do 2 drawings. 2 people will win 100 poly mailers. So let's do this. Here it is. That is how you spell it. Hashtag GRO pack. And I will give away 2 packs of those. And then you can't see me really big, but then we're going to give away the super cool listing party. Make it a listing party. We're going to give away a listing party shirt. It is a extra large. So hopefully it will fit you guys. I love this color. I have the matching shirt to this. And then I have one more 24 pack of my go-to tape to give away. I have all the things tonight, all the things, except for Shaken's $500 boxes. I'm sorry. So hashtag GRO pack. We have 104 entries. They have regular mailers, padded mailers. That is what I am using for all of my mailers now. I've used them extensively. I like them. I just ordered all the sizes because I'm almost out of all the sizes. And yeah. These are cute ones. These are the most popular ones. I am going to give you guys just another 30 seconds or so. I am going to draw this twice. You can keep entering after the first giveaway because I'm going to give it away twice. And then we're going to give away the listing party shirt. And then we're going to give away some tape. This is the last of the tape Joel gave me to give away. So there will be no more free tape after tonight. You have to go buy it. Oh, tape too. You can get 10% off with code The Nurse Flipper too. Wherever you go, try using code The Nurse Flipper and it might work. It might give you a discount. I don't know. All right. Just try it. All right, I'm going to wait for 150. We have 149 entries. Now 154. Let's pick it. Keep entering. I'm going to pick another winner. Keep entering. Dun, da, da, da. Moving on, 395, Mark. Mark is our winner. Mark, email me the nurseflipper@yahoo.com, and I need your mailing address, please. I'm writing your name down. The nurseflipper@yahoo.com. Send me your mailing address. I will get those out to you. Let's pick another winner. We have 160 entries now. Let's pick one more winner, and then I'm going to go backwards and pick a new word. Doug, what do you want our word to be for the shirt?
Listing party. Hashtag listing party, please.
Got it. Angie Cummings is the winner of the. Yeah.
Do you want applause?
So Angie, same thing. Email me the nurseflipper@yahoo.com. Let's see if I can keep sharing this and go back. Giveaway page. Can you guys still see my screen or no?
Yeah.
Listing party. This is for a size XL shirt, guys. Size XL shirt. Hashtag listing party. This shirt. That is so cool.
I have the matching shirt as well in many colors.
I do too.
Don't list alone.
Don't list alone. Make it a listing party. This is super cool, guys. There are live chat rooms all the time. You can go hang out with other people that are listing.
24/7.
Listing party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
24/7 parties, different sellers, different topics. You get profiles on there. You can put listings on there. You can connect with virtual assistants. You can connect with other sellers. You can set and track goals in there, and more cool stuff coming.
I am hot. My hair is a fan.
Yeah. We'll get Kat in to do a listing party.
What's Jake doing in here? What's going on, Yakov? Long time no see. Yakov Ben's in the house.
I see that. Hello, Joe.
What's going on? It's 90 degrees in here. I'm not crazy. I mean, I am probably going crazy because it's 90 degrees. All right, let's go ahead and pick a winner for the shirt. Dun, da, da, da. Karen. did I get sound effects? Who's doing that?
That's
Doug,
me.
I need those. You need
All
to
right.
come on every show so I have sound
There we
effects.
go. With my Roadcaster podcast board.
Okay, hold on. I'm going. Can you still see me?
Yep.
Okay. All right, guys. Hashtag my go to tape. That's the name of it. I'll show you it here in 2 seconds. You're going to get 24 of these. 24. My go to tape.
Man, Pat's
American
Pat's
Bubble
giving
Boys
away the
tape.
world tonight.
I am. I'll give away more next week. I have
Nice.
lots of stuff. We have more List Perfectly swag. I have no more tape. Win this tape or you got to buy your own. This is the
Cat,
end
that
of the
tape, does it work really well with poly millers and bubble millers?
Yeah, I use it with everything. We've been using it exclusively for about a month now, and I really like it. It's thick, which is what I like. But like we put it to close the poly mailers. I can hide behind the tape. Like my head's sticking.
I've been
You're
trying
not getting
different
this.
types. I've been doing different brands because every time I try a different brand, it doesn't seem to stick and stay to the poly miller.
This one has. Yeah, this one has because we do like I folded some over yesterday. I was folding stuff and it does. I really, really like it. And it's the priced very, very competitively too.
Is that
and you
in
get
your
10% off if you use the nurse slipper.
is that in your link tree on any of those links?
The American Bubble Boy, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's American Bubble Boys tape. They just came out with it about a month ago. 155 entries. The tape is popular. All right, 157. Let's get to 160. 3 more entries. I will pick a winner for the tape, and then we will get back to your questions. 2 more.
All those that are in the chat from my channel that know that I'm usually never up this late. Yes, you're not seeing it. It's not Memorex. It's me.
It's not an AI generated.
I've seen a lot of
Let's
comments.
pick a
Wait,
winner.
is that really you?
Oh, asking if it's you.
Yeah. Aren't you in? Aren't you past your bedtime?
Miss Irene, you won the tape. So the tape, I am not sending you. Woo! Doug sound effects. I'm going to give you a code for that. So just email all of you that won tonight, the nurse flipper at yahoo.com. And I will I'm mailing out everything except the tape. I'm going to give you a coupon code from my good friend Joel.
You do have a question in the chat from Forgotten Whatnots. What can you give them the name of the poly miller again?
GRO pack. Mark and Marsha, will you drop GRO pack and you can use code the nurse flipper for 10% off. Mark and Marsha can throw the link. It's I'll type it too. It's GRO pack. That is in my links.
Okay.
Ooh, I don't think I made tape its own link. Maybe I'm going to make a note, Johnny, because maybe I should do that separate from the bubble wrap. There you go. Mark just threw it in there.
Through the bubble miller or bubble boy?
Yeah, it's through American Bubble Boy. Yep.
Okay.
Oh,
Johnny, you shine on
what do we have next? We already did that one. Okay,
If
J-Ride Flips. If you're buying stuff, he wants you to rank them. Yard sales, thrift store, flea markets. What is first, second, and third for you?
I would have to say for me, it's not one of the choices. For me, it's estate sales, then yard sales, and then thrift stores. I don't really find great deals in flea markets because it's more. I say I can't find it, but I do find it when I first went to the first one I did. But then again, it's like, oh my God, I gotta buy this. I know it can make money. I know it can flip it. But a lot of times you gotta be careful because a lot of that is junk. And I say that in a sense that it's more like made in China. I don't use a lot of things from flea markets. So that would be my rating for me.
So I'm going to add my garage. That's my number one because I've got so much stuff in there that I've collected over the years. And you get to a point where if something's sitting in a box for 20 years, you think maybe you don't need it. But yard sales are great because A lot of times you can get amazing deals. People are moving, people are getting rid of stuff. You know, a lot of times the kids are off to college, so maybe mom and dad are selling the old video games, things like that. And a lot of times, you know, you get a really good deal on stuff. Thrift stores are great too. You just got to keep, you know, your network, keep looking around. I haven't stepped foot in a flea market in years. So I would rank my garage, yard sales, then thrift stores.
So for me, it's going to be hands down yard sales, number one, because they have the biggest ROI, the biggest return on your investment. You can start, anyone who's starting out to resell, yard sale is the way to go because you can go out with $20 and fill up your car. So I would say that's always the best one there. Plus, I get a lot of leads from yard sales that I get personal buys, and so that's a good one there. I would put flea markets number two. Flea markets, I'm going to pay up for items at flea markets, but I will find great deals, and they are willing to negotiate. And then thrift stores is going to be either hit or miss. I'll put thrift stores as number three.
I'm going to put this up here because I am with Aaron. Online auction is number one for me, hands down. But if I have to choose from those, I would rank them exactly the way you have them. Yard sales, then thrift store, then flea market, because my flea market's kind of hit or miss. It's not the best. So I would be yard sales, thrift store, flea markets, but they would all be after online auctions for me. That is my number one way of sourcing. Miss Jackie says, as you begin to stock for fourth quarter, do you buy different items than you usually do, or do you stock greater quantities of your regular items?
For me, I stock basically the same that I always sell every year. My biggest things for me is toys, games, puzzles, action figures, and then Barbie dolls. Those are my biggest 5 things that I always restock. Like right now, I just finished restocking and I've been selling a lot of school supplies. So that is my quarter now. So now I'm getting ready for not only Halloween, but Christmas as well. So those are my 5 top things that I want to make sure that I have enough. Because when and I say this every time that somebody asks me questions in my morning shows, one of the biggest things is you want to be prepared. If you even have a store level and you get these free shipping supplies, try to use your coupons for those because you're going to need them in Q4. And then if you don't know what Q4 is, it's the biggest, and I find the busiest season when it comes to October 1st. You want to be ready because I did not think of it when I first started 4 years ago. And I was like blown away on that Q4 when I heard about it. It's like, what is Q4? Well, I found out the hard way because I wasn't ready. So, yeah.
Yeah. And I would definitely agree first on the Q4 stuff is you got to be planning ahead. You got to be planning for that right now. And, you know, your sales are probably going to be the best. And again, you know, toys sell well, video games have sold well for me in Q4. And I'm frankly still, you know, I've got boxes and boxes of stuff and I have boxes and boxes of books that I'm consigning for a friend. So I still stock from my own stuff. But, you know, I do know tons of sellers. I worked at eBay. Q4 is huge. You got to prep for it, but you got to be prepped. Some sellers that I know would say you should have been prepping already for a couple months for Q4.
So I want to post this up right here. You just hit the nail on the head. When my biggest Q4 I've ever had was I doubled down in August and September, and I listed so much stuff. Give yourself a listing challenge. Keep listing and get as much stuff up possible because right now is going to be the time that it's going to pay off once that time rolls around. Because if you're waiting to October, November to start listing those items for Christmas, that time has already passed. Mm-hmm. There's already people that have been ahead of you for the last 2 months listing things on there. So I always double down on these 2 months, and I've seen the best outcomes from that. And I've done that every year. It's been very successful for me. So I highly recommend you guys try that out, try to adapt that. But for me, you know, I list Christmas and Halloween stuff all year round because that stuff sells all year round. Yep. And, you know, and listing it early in the year, it's only going to benefit you later in the year. So at this point in time, I mean, I don't stock up for anything because, you know, I buy what's available, what's going to make me money at any given time. So I could be buying action figures, you know, in the middle of summer, and I can't be buying action figures right now because there might no inventory around for me at that point in time. Right. So I'm going to move on to what I find is going to be profitable. One thing that I have done in the fourth quarter, I've actually raised some of my prices in like video game categories and other categories on certain items like Mario, the items that are going to be selling, or I start bundling items together, such as like we talked about selling video games, start throwing extra controllers or video games with those bundles, because when a parent goes on there looking to buy those things for gifts, you have a complete setup there. So those things do help your sales in fourth quarter.
Yeah, so for me, I'm not changing anything. I am going to order more shipping supplies, but as a rule, ever since 99, the off and on that I have been selling, I don't get the spike in Q4, and I am okay with that. I would be rather level the whole year round than counting on one quarter to make up a chunk of my business. So I don't do anything differently other than ordering more shipping supplies because I know they're going to run out. So for me, I don't do anything at all different. Patty wants to know, does listing every day really help the algorithms, or is that a conspiracy? And then we have a member. I keep forgetting. We have a member. We'll do that next.
It is not a conspiracy. It's almost like feeding the beast. No matter what you're doing, especially if you think about it this way, if you're doing everything e-commerce, but yet think about it if you had a brick and mortar store, how would you get those customers into that store? Well, you're going to have to pay for advertisement. You're going to have to pay something to get them to come in, foot traffic to come in. Whereas online, if you're not constantly feeding it every day, I've had some people tell me, well, why do I do drafts? Well, for one reason. I'll build up 20, 30, 40 drafts for a week or more because I want to at least have that activity. If I have, say, this past Thursday or Friday, I had a busy day, but I did have enough to where I was able to still list those 5 items for that morning, still have an activity on my store. That way, when it comes time for the next day, I was just able to just start releasing those. Now, you can schedule releases of items, but I prefer to just be there and get them out myself. And for me, it's constantly every day trying to get something there. I don't care if I'm sending out offers, doing a promotion, or getting comments, getting feedback. All of that is important in your store, especially if it's an eBay store. And that's just feeding it. So you have to do it on a daily basis. Got to be consistent.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Johnny. And it's like, he says, think of having a store, each of your accounts on a different marketplace. And, every level that you're selling at, you need to think of yourself as a business and think about putting time into that business. And then, across the board, every platform, they want you to list every day. They want you to spend time on there. It's the same thing with like social media. The more you post, the more eyes you're going to get on your posts. The more you list, the more sales you're going to get. And, a lot of people will set yourself a goal. You can do 1 a day, 3 a day, but just definitely list conspiratorially, consistently.
Jeez, down there, huh, Doug? What's going on down there, huh? All right.
CONS.
So think of it this way. If you went to a thrift store and they didn't put out new inventory every day, would you keep going every day to a thrift store? No, exactly. You wouldn't, And I mentioned this earlier when we were talking, wait, people search. I have searches saved on my phone for certain items I'm waiting to pop up on eBay because I know people underprice them, and I get notifications to my phone. So if you're selling those certain categories, people will get notifications directly to their phone or their email letting you know that a new item has listed in that category, okay? Because people are searching for newly listed items. Also, on the flip side, people search for items that are ending that day. So you want to make sure you're hitting both of those. But also, too, eBay likes activity. They like to see a healthy account. They like to see you're interacting, you're answering messages from your customers, for potential customers. All that does help out your account. So yes, 100%. And I would say if you don't believe that, stop listening for the next 2 weeks and see what happens in your account.
Yeah, I agree with everybody else. You need to have some kind of activity, sending offers. I would say set a realistic expectation, because I was saying 10 a day, and realistically, with as much as I have going on, 10 is just not realistic for me every day. So I list 5 a day, but I try and make at least a couple of those higher dollar items. Like we're at $450 today in sales. So my eBay sales are still doing okay, but I'm not listing as much. So try and list like a certain dollar amount a day versus a quantity if nothing else. But I think you definitely need to be doing something every day.
Yeah.
Let me get this member before I forget again. Miss Judy became a YouTube member, and today is a great day to become a YouTube member because Thursday is my monthly eBay listing reviews, or whatever platform you're on. I don't care. I can review any of them, and I'll tell you what I think could be improved and what might help you get more sales. That is once a month this Thursday, so it is a good time to join. So Miss Judy, thank you. If you look in the membership tab on my YouTube, you'll see the post where you can enter to have your store or listings done. You don't have to have a store. So thank you so much. Welcome, and it's a good time to join. Here is your dolphin.
Welcome to the flipping family.
That was an original one as well. That is,
I remember that
those
one.
two original ones have been on my channel for about 2.5 to 3 years now. They've been around for a while. This is a good question for Miss Rachel. For your YouTube videos, which category do you use for yours?
Oh.
I see no other choice than people and blogs, so I have been putting them there. Is this a mistake?
I have several categories I use. For example, on my bingos on every Monday night at 4:30, that is entertainment. On my morning shows, it's always how to or education and Q&A or tips. When I do my how-to videos, I definitely use education and then how-to. Depending on what the category is I do use those. Now, if you do the Dropbox under the categories, you should get the whole list of what you can put them in. I think I just did one that was just this past week. This past Sunday, I did a video, and I'm trying to. I think that was people in vlog because that was about a channel member of my channel. So that one I did do that, but I don't very seldomly put people in vlogs. I use how-tos, tips, education. It depends on what it is. But definitely I do a different one on my Mondays for that is entertainment. So I think, and this is just my opinion, that it is great because I've helped a lot of people decide on how to change that in the categories. I find that it does help if you have it in a particular category.
That's a tough one for me because I'm not active on YouTube. So I'm going to go with I agree with Johnny. Cat and Rob.
So when I first started, I actually had that same question too, and I bought this analytic program that I can actually scan people's accounts to kind of find out what category were people putting in, and many people in the resellers in our community were doing a bunch of different how-tos, entertainment, vlogs. So at the end of the day, I mean, I tried different categories. Me personally, I didn't really see much of a difference. I think it really comes down. I mean, the biggest thing is going to be your thumbnails and your titles is what really makes your videos and what's going to get people's attention. So it's not so much a category. I mean, yeah, that could potentially help it, but at the end of the day, too, I mean, you have are you using the proper hashtags, or are you doing the proper SEO on your videos? So those things I think have more impact on the success of your videos and getting views than what category you have it listed. So I would focus more on the bigger picture, such as thumbnails and titles. It's going to be the biggest thing for you.
Yeah.
Can I hop in?
Yeah, I agree with what Rod said for sure. Oh, go ahead, Doug.
I was sorry to interrupt, but it's kind of like, I always say with like when you're listing is look at people that are doing similar stuff. So if you want to grow on YouTube, look at people that are doing, what you're doing. If you want to be a reseller, look at similar people and, learn from them. Always learn from your competitors, learn from the big people that are doing it, follow the big sellers, look at what Kat's doing, look at what Johnny's doing, look at what Rod's doing, and then learn from that, because it all does factor in. It's not just the category, it's a lot more than that. And the big thing with all of this, whether it's, I've been podcasting a while, it's the same thing. You're going to start out, you're going to start small, but you got to be patient and it's going to take time. My son a couple of years ago was like, I want to be a YouTuber. It's like, I'll put up a couple of videos and I'll be making $1,000 a month. It takes a while. And like,
Yes.
yeah, I mean, all these, everybody will tell you they've been doing it for years. It's not an overnight thing. And it takes some experimentation too.
Yeah.
Yeah, to give you an idea, at least with my channel, I have over 1,000 videos on YouTube, guys. 1,000. So this definitely has not been a fast road to where I am. I put the majority of my videos in the education because I feel they are education. I think, and I've had this conversation with multiple people as well. And I think like if you're going to thrift stores or you're going garage sailing, I think that might fit a little better in entertainment. But I agree with Rod. Title and thumbnail is number 1 and number 2. And it doesn't matter what category it's in. If you're not hitting it home on those 2 things, it's not going to matter where it's at. But I would put it where you feel appropriate because it's not really lifestyle to me. I think they would better fit in either entertainment or in education. Unless you're doing like a day in the life of a reseller,
Right.
you know, or something like that.
One of the tips I give everybody, because I had some videos recently within the last month go viral. One of the things I gave on tips is when you're thinking of a video that you want to do, before you figure out the title, go into the YouTube search and start typing in some of the keywords you want to use and see how many views on those videos are already there with that title that you're choosing or thinking about, and see how they have it worded and how many views are they getting on that particular title. And then you can always rearrange that title to kind of fit your topic, but not take exactly the same title from somebody who's getting like thousands of views. So that's one of the biggest tips I give everybody.
Yeah, that's a great
Yeah,
tip.
for sure.
Create your title and your thumbnail before you do your video.
Yep.
Before you edit your video, because people
I should do that.
People half-ass their title and their thumbnail because they spend much time filming and editing, and when it comes to title and thumbnail, they just push it to the side. And I will tell you, you will see a drastic difference in your product because I switched over doing that and it made such a change. So
yeah,
because it helped me have a better.
I would probably be doing better if I did that. I do not.
I always do my thumbnails and find out what my title is first before I even do the video.
There you go.
All right, Miss Lisa said, I was going to start selling on eBay. I had to start an account. It got suspended the day after. I have not bought or sold anything. I tried to sort it out with eBay, but no help. Does anybody have any tips?
All right, so I was going to start selling on eBay. Now, it could, I don't know the story, but maybe, did you ever have an account previously that you thought you might have, this would be your first one, and maybe you had one before? Or someone has already had that account under your name, or something has happened previously. I don't know the whole story, but I would definitely try to get in touch with. I've heard many horror stories. Married couples got divorced or split, and then I have some people in my community that my live shows that has contacted me, and I didn't know they was divorced and separated, and they had a lot of issues, and they had to contact eBay to sort it out. It could be from a bank account. It could be from, we don't know. My biggest tip is to try and get in touch with eBay, and then maybe verify that what it is. They should have given you some kind of notification in an email of why. If they're not, then I would definitely try to contact eBay. Now, if you cannot get in touch with eBay, please go to Facebook. There is a eBay for resellers.
eBay Facebook for business. Wait a minute. eBay for business on Facebook.
Yeah,
Well,
eBay for business.
I'm hot. I can't think.
They will contact you within 12 to 24 hours if you go that route through Facebook. I had to get in touch with them that way. Other than that, usually I have no problems directly. But if you cannot get in a response, and you can call through your help area of your eBay store. If not, go to Facebook and send them a message. I guarantee you will definitely get a contact information from somebody wanting to help you with your problem.
So yeah, definitely agree with Johnny. I mean, if there was an issue with an account in the past, eBay will definitely be able to track it down based on IPs or emails or things like that.
Right.
And then as far as getting in touch with eBay, definitely eBay for business on Facebook, and I think on Twitter as well. But then there's also, the contacts links at the bottom of every eBay page, and then help stuff within your account. And then you can also go to community.ebay.com, and that's the eBay online community where sellers help sellers. And a lot of times people prefer to, talk to sellers and get questions from sellers before they reach out to eBay customer service. And then also, all the different Facebook groups that have sellers that are willing to help can maybe steer you in the right direction. Probably need a little more detail, but definitely try and reach out because you want to resolve that. And they want you to sell on there unless there's some kind of illegal violation or something like that.
Right.
Yeah, I was wondering if maybe when they did their initial setup, maybe they typed in the wrong bank information or something, because they do deposits. They do have to verify your information in there. So something maybe got flagged along the way there. So that could be something else. But
yeah,
I think you guys covered it pretty well. Unless Kat has anything.
Not really, no. Sometimes it's very, very hard when they do that. Like, you can't get around it. I've lost eBay accounts and then been able, luckily, to start one a couple of years later. So I would think maybe it would be either like the bank account info or something flagged it, or like Johnny said, the IP address or mailing address or something. So I would just try and get in contact with them. And I know you said you haven't had any luck. I would probably try and open another account just to see, because it's not going to hurt if you can't get a hold of them.
Just don't use the same email.
Yeah, exactly.
Use a different email.
Different email.
I was having an issue.
Definitely a different email.
Yeah.
Maybe a PO box or something.
One of the issues I was having was I couldn't use this perfectly, or my Mercari account and other things, was I actually somehow got a Trojan virus on my computer. And that when I was going to certain websites, like I went to eBay to check out, I couldn't check out on my laptop because eBay was blocking it. They said that they wouldn't let me do it. And Mercari is blocking me to log on because the malware I had on my laptop was flagging those sites. So maybe that could be something else that's flagging your account or flagging those sites because it looks like it's possibly attacking. So once I get an antivirus on my computer, it cleared it up. Now I'm fine with all that.
Okay.
So it's something to look into.
Yeah, for sure. Miss Sherry says, I had an item that was delivered damaged. Within 5 minutes of receiving the picture and notifying me, I immediately gave a full refund. Then they gave me negative feedback. How do you handle that?
Only thing I can say, in the past, I have called, but I never give a full refund until the item has been returned. So it hasn't been damaged within 5 minutes of receiving the picture and notify me. I immediately get. Now, I'm assuming you got it back, or because they asked for an immediate refund receiving the picture. So I'm a little confused on that.
Yeah, I think she got the picture of it broke, so there would be no point in returning it. Which I'll say what I would do when it gets to me, but
they would give them negative feedback. I know I have gotten a problem in the past, and eBay has removed eBay did remove the negative feedback because, again, I did everything, gave the refund immediately, but they did remove it. But I'm not sure if they're starting to remove, or they still remove negative feedback, because I was told they don't anymore. But
they do. They
do. They still do. Okay. But I've had only one problem. I have to say, knock on wood, I've been doing this for 4 years and I've only had 3 returns. Yeah. So I haven't had any issues, but the one I did have, they did take it off for me.
And so, yeah, I agree with Johnny. It's like, from what I've seen from my stuff and from sellers, is that return rates are pretty low. So what I would say is, it seems like you're providing great customer service. I think that's great that you worked with the customer. You can appeal it. And maybe if this is eBay, maybe you can get that negative feedback removed. But the other thing I would say is, statistically, every once in a while, you're going to have a bad experience. Keep selling, keep on trucking, as they say, but definitely keep offering that great customer service that it seems like you're offering. It just kind of, you can appeal it, but you can also just move on. It's going to happen every once in a while. There are bad buyers and there are bad sellers, unfortunately.
So I am very particular about my account, and anytime I have negative, I'll go above and beyond to get my negatives removed. But the first thing I always do is just like, I mean, think of this: if you're waiting for something, you buy it on eBay, and it takes 5-6 days to get there. You're so excited, you open up that package, and it's busted. You're gonna be pretty pissed off about the situation, and right away you're heated, and maybe you left a negative feedback right away, but within 12 hours or 24 hours, you're going to calm down a little bit, because that was maybe an emotional decision. So one thing that I always do is I send the buyer a message, be like, hey, I'm so sorry, accidents do happen. I'm only human. And, would you please consider, removing your negative feedback? I am a small business that does hurt me and my family. Is what we do full time. Would you please do that? And I've had many times where people are like, hey, I was just super upset with the situation. I'm sorry. And you can actually send them requests to remove that. Also, too, if the buyer responds to you in any type of negative way, eBay will automatically remove that negative now, because now it looks as a personal attack. So, I mean, it's going to take a little extra time to do that, but it does help out too. And eBay can read your chats. So if eBay sees you going the extra mile to give awesome customer
They'll
service,
also see if you're not.
Yes.
Very true. Very true.
But you can also, you were saying about reaching out. There's a thing you can also reach out to the buyer that gave you the negative feedback and ask them to reconsider, because it was all in good faith and you did everything you're supposed to. Can they resend it or redo it? They can.
Well, I send them a personal message before you do that first, and then you can actually send them the request. Yeah.
Correct.
That's what I was referring to. Yes.
I don't think a person who got a refund in 5 minutes and left negative feedback is going to revise it. That's just my opinion, because they were being spiteful there already. Mm-hmm. So in order for me to give a refund on anything, they have to open a return. I don't want that item back, but because I'm a top-rated seller, I offer free returns. If they leave me a negative feedback after they open a return, it is automatically removed. It will never see the light of day on eBay. So I never issue a refund without them opening a return, whether I want them to send me it back or not. I want that protection. And I know, right? Buy me a new AC. I might need one. I don't know if you can see the sweat is like pouring off of my face. So like this, I guess the AC is like 2 years old. ACs don't last like they used to. I'm going to go in. My house is fine. I'm going to go in my house when we're done. I will be cool then. I'm going to take a shower and then I don't know. Not put on very many clothes. So LaDawn said she asked the buyer to revise and they did. I'm just thinking because they left it after the refund, I feel like they wouldn't, but it cannot hurt to try. Be like, hey, I know, I might. We only have 17 minutes. It is the sauna. It's a very large sauna. If you would like to rent space in it, I will do it cheap and buy an AC, and it won't be a sauna very long. So I would contact them and say, hey, I saw your feedback and I agree with you. You're upset. It arrived broken, but my business depends on my feedback. I did resolve your problem within 5 minutes of you messaging me. Would you please consider revising it? Because you don't want to send a revision request if they're not going to change it. You need to know that they're going to change it. So that's what I would do. But I never ever issue a refund without a return request open, because I want that protection from eBay.
Exactly.
A couple quick things. I want to jump back real quick to what Rod said. So especially in, social media, online customer service, statistically, people who gripe and complain are not expecting to hear anything back. So a lot of times if you reach out and work with them, you turn this person around, they're going to be a bigger advocate for you than, even your general people, because you've worked with them. And then also, I think this is also an opportunity for you to win them back and be like, hey, sorry about that. Like you were saying, Kat, hey, sorry about that it didn't work out. Here's a coupon for next time if you want to buy from me.
I do that too. Yep.
It's very hard for me to do that. I'm not going to lie. I want to tell them to kiss my Yeah. Okay. That's why I had somebody that was answering those for me, and now I don't again. But yeah. Designs, Laura wants to know, how does cross-listing work when there are variations such as size?
I'm not sure on Flip because I don't use variations. So I'm not sure.
So I would say, so this is a tough one because I know a lot of sellers who don't recommend variation listings because I know on eBay, I've had challenges in the past with them showing up in search and have issues, especially updating them. And then, it kind of depends on what you're selling. We don't List Perfectly doesn't, we don't do variations right now.
Yeah, I don't sell variations, so I'm the wrong person to ask.
And I do, and they are hell. And I would not list a new variation one again. And some of you might have bought things from me. I keep updating them. I keep counting my inventory. I change it. I turn around and eBay has changed it. And it says I have stuff I don't have. And it has just been an absolute nightmare. So I would rather list like 5 large shirts, 5 medium shirts, 5 small shirts. When they're sold, they're gone. I have them in single listing, and that is what has been hell with the variation. So I prefer them without. Like, just list the large separate, the medium separate, the small separate. That's what I would do.
That's how I do my listing.
Dougie, will List Perfectly ever have an app to perform some functions like Vendu has?
So I would say, found by chance, that so an app and a website are two different development environments. That's why you'll see a lot of differences like eBay versus their app. So List Perfectly does have a website that's mobile friendly on purpose. You can use it on your phone. All you got to do is go there and save it to your phone. And yeah, technically it's not an app, but it's designed that way because having an app and then a website, you have 2 different development environments that can cause you some challenges that I have heard that Vendu has in their app. And people look for an app, but you can definitely use List Perfectly on your phone. You're just accessing the website. And like Rod said, that's one of my favorite List Perfectly tips is I do all my listings from my phone because you take your picture. My son used to start my listings. He would do a title and he would take the pictures. You can take the pictures. You can remove the white background. You'll find with the photo room background remover that's integrated with us, you'll find that you don't have to have as much of a crazy light setup as you used to have. So that's great. And then you just save that listing as a draft, and then I finish it up on desktop. So and our mobile version does a lot of the things that other options have available. And then, if you're interested in more research, you can certainly go to listperfectly.com/pricing, and then that's a breakdown of all the features that we have.
Here, while you're answering, I use Photo Room bulk directly and have to edit some of the pictures because Photo Room doesn't edit perfectly. Can you edit the white background in LP?
Yes, you. Oh, do I want to jump? Oh, I guess I guess.
No, it's for you. I figured since you're answering, I'm going to hit you with another one.
Listen,
yes, you can. That Photo Room white background remover is great. You can do it via mobile while you're listing. You can do it on the desktop, but yeah, you can do it within directly within List Perfectly.
Okay, another one. One more for you, Doug. What is the best way to handle sell similar on LP?
So here's what I'm going to do for you, because I did see this question earlier. I'm going to first give you a link that our friend to a video that our friend Flipping Hippos did on quickly ending and selling similar on eBay with List Perfectly. So basically what you do is in the listing flow, we have this handy little copy button that allows you to copy a listing, and then you can select the marketplace. So if you have, let's say you've got a pair of sneakers and you're listing a bunch of sneakers, you would go in the List Perfectly listing flow, you hit the copy button and you select the marketplace. So you would select eBay and it'll start the listing, the similar listing on there for you. And then you can just go in and update in the tab that will open. And but do check out that that video I posted in there from Flippin' Hippos, because she goes through the whole process.
Perfect. Who uses Pirate Ship?
I do.
I do. I dig Pirate Ship.
I love it.
I think all of us use it. I don't use it primarily for eBay. I use it like all of the poly mailers and the shirts and stuff I just gave away. That'll all be shipped via Pirate Ship. I like to stay on eBay to ship my eBay stuff, but other than that, if it's a direct sale, I use Pirate Ship.
Now with Pirate Ship, you can integrate any platforms you do sell on. And because only time I use Pirate Ship for, like, say, eBay or any of my platforms is if, for example, with Macari, I will use Pirate Ship because I do not use Macari shipping.
No.
Etsy, I use Pirate Ship. I don't use Etsy shipping. So for me, I use Pirate Ship because I find that it's a lot quicker and easy, and I still get a discount on there just like I would through eBay or wherever. But that's what I use it for, unless I'm doing my auctions and I do all my invoicing through PayPal, through my business Pirate Ship, and then you can integrate all your shipping with that as well if you needed to. And
it's quick and easy to use. They've got good customer service. They talk like a pirate in their online chat, so that's kind of cool. But yeah, it is. But I've always used it. I like it, and it's a great option.
Tina says we need a flat rate option for customers on Pirate Ship. When you're doing, because I know you do. That's I know Tina from my chats. With all the online auctions, you can even set a flat rate. Even with Pirate Ship, you can still do a flat rate. But if you're talking about eBay, you can do that in your business policies.
I would just say one thing on Pirate Ship. If eBay blocks you from listing certain items and shipping them through media mail, so if you list, like, for example, if I'm listing a manual for slot cars in the slot car category, they will not give me the option to have media mail as shipping. So if you're doing that to actually boost your sales or get more eyes on your items, that's a category that doesn't fall under like media mail, that's the only time I'll import those listings from eBay into Pirate Ship, because then you can ship through media mail.
Right.
Yeah, that's a good point. Flippin' Ain't Easy said, I shipped the wrong item on eBay. The buyer claims nothing arrived, but tracking shows delivered. What should I do? So I think there's two problems here.
Yeah. Shipping went to I shipped the wrong item on eBay. And the buyer claimed nothing arrived, but tracking shows delivered. One of the things, first of all, with the tracking, a lot of times too, they can also check to make sure it was the correct address. Now that'll be part of the buyer's problem if they're not giving a correct address, for one. When it comes to the wrong item, I'm not sure how. I've never had that happen.
I hope it's not more expensive and they got it and like they want to keep it.
That's what I'm wondering. So I was wondering, is it more expensive? It was a wrong item, wrong color. All that can make a big difference. But yeah, you can definitely track that it went to that address, and they can't say, because I've had people tell me, not me myself, but other channels have problems where they say they never got delivered. Well, it said it got delivered. It was put at this door part or porch or back door or whatever. They'll even put where it was delivered to. So they may not be aware that it may have been put in a different location. So yeah.
Yeah, and I would say I've heard of this a lot. And it's like you hope that you're dealing with an honest buyer, and you can just say, hey, here's the tracking, maybe ask your neighbors, because we order food. So we get, DoorDash delivered, and fairly regularly it's delivered on our neighbor's door right around the way. So if it says delivered, I walk out there and I grab it, and they've never questioned me from their Ring camera. But you got to hope it's an honest buyer. Hopefully it wasn't a porch pirate. That's definitely a problem. And just, I would definitely reach out and say, hey, here's the info. Here's a screenshot. It says it was delivered. Maybe ask your neighbors and go from there.
So what probably happened is, and post office is notorious to doing this, is when they list items, when they put stuff on their truck or they don't complete their orders, the drivers will mark the item as delivered and drop it off the following day. So that has happened to me numerous times where a buyer has reached out to me upset, saying that they haven't received the item, as say delivered, and then they receive it the next day. So they are notorious for doing that. So keep that in mind. I mean, at this point in time, if you shipped out the wrong item, I mean, you're up the creek without a paddle, pretty much. You know, that items, you consider that item to be gone, cost of doing business. It's a costly mistake, but I would just wait for the buyer because, you know, if the buyer got the item in the mail, if they didn't get it, one way or another, they're going to have to open up a claim. And you just have to follow the eBay steps. So at this point in time, it's out of your hands. Nothing you can do. Focus on things you can control. Is just put more listings up and, you know, chalk this up as a cost of doing business. Hate to say that, but it's what it is.
Yeah, but you shouldn't have to refund on the item because if they say they didn't get it, then they don't know you shipped the wrong item. And I would put the tracking number and I would not refund it unless that buyer says they got it because they got something.
Yeah.
And I would just like if they open an item not received claim, I would input the tracking number and let eBay side on that. They're going to side with you if it shows delivered, but I would not expect to get whatever that wrong item is back because it sounds like they might, in this situation, they might be trying to keep it. I'm going to answer this and then we're going to answer one more question. I'll let everybody say bye and tell you what they have going on. Kate wants to know if Brad is still making the laser cut jewelry boxes. He is. I think I have one that I show on my whatnots. But if there's one that he's made, just message me and I can have him make it again and paint it any color you want. So he is still making them. He hasn't been making as many, but he does still make them. All right, last question for the night from Mama Nana Ross. How accurate is the median sold price on eBay? I find it really fluctuates on things when I'm ending and selling similar, sometimes up, sometimes down. And I believe she is referring to like eBay's pricing that they're suggesting to you and telling you this is the average sales price.
I don't follow that because I have noticed there's some things that I've been, even recently, I've been selling a lot of vintage, brand new, still in the box, in the bags from JCPenney's dress shirts, and many of things. But when you go to list it, don't follow that, please. One of the things I always, and I did a video on this on how to source when you're out on, like say, retail arbitrage, for example. Always look at what's sold. Remember this. Anything you look at that is listed, that doesn't mean anything. That is what they're asking for it. That's not what's sold. So always look at your comps at what's sold before setting your price. And then look at how many are listed to help you determine where you should put your price at. But if there's, say, for example, an item you're trying to list. Now, if there's 4 sold, but 18 listed, I'm not listing that right now. I'm going to wait.
Yeah.
Because I will want to make sure that there is more sold and less listed before I do list an item. But always check your sold comps. Remember that those prices you see on what's on eBay, it's what they're asking. That doesn't mean they're going to get it. Look at what's sold. That gives you what the selling rate is at that time for that item you're trying to sell.
Yeah, totally agree. You know, always look at the sold stuff. A lot of people do make that mistake. They get super excited that something's listed. And some people will list stuff high for weird reasons, but always check the solds. And you want to make sure that there's, like Johnny said, that there's a good amount of those sold. And then on the other hand, you know, eBay's got 25 plus years, probably 27, 28 at this point, years of data that not even Amazon has because it has buyer and seller data across more categories for longer. So eBay's got a ton of crazy data and they also work on this algorithm. But what you always have to keep in mind is, yes, you have to feed the algorithm, but the algorithm or an algorithm takes what's put into it. So many people try to cheat the algorithm or work around it or try little things. And that's bad data that goes into an algorithm that affects what comes out. So that's, you know, it's like, obviously you don't want to cheat. You don't want to do underhanded things because you never want to jeopardize your account, but you also have to think of the data that you are putting into the algorithm because it doesn't help anybody to do workarounds or cheat the algorithm.
Mama put another comment about she'll go to relist something and it's a bigger difference in price. You got to remember, it's almost like treating it as the stock market. Stock market goes up and down. Also the same. Some things may sell, some things may tank. So that's one of the reasons why you still want to check it. Even if you're relisting it to sell somewhere, you still want to see what is it selling for at that time. And it can be worse. It could be lower. But remember, whatever goes down must come back up.
So when it comes to the median is incorrect big time on there, because especially certain categories are going to be really fluctuating. If you're looking at like collectibles such as like comic books, sports cards, type in Beanie Babies or Black Diamond VHS, and you're going to see sold comps for $5,000, and it's a bunch of BS because they're fake shield bidding. I can't speak tonight, and so that's really going to affect the median price. Also, too, so anytime you do search, I'm going to take one step farther. What Johnny said there. There's two ways that we search for comps. I search for from highest to lowest to make sure that you don't have like a variant or some type of one-off piece in there, and then also search from most recent, and then you can look at the past week or two to see what the sales have been for the past week or two, because as he said, the market goes up and down. So you want to see what the market potentially was the highest in the last 90 days, but you also want to see what the last things are selling the last 2 weeks.
That's right.
Yeah, and I would add that is an AI system that is picking up on keywords, and it might not be comparing apples to apples. So it might not even be what you're selling at all. So make sure you click that button, because it'll show you what it is comparing the price on. And a lot of times it is completely different from what you are selling. So I do glance at it. I'm not saying it's a total waste, but I agree. Do your comps like you said you were doing. That definitely, you should be doing your own. Don't take their word on anything at all. I am going to let these gentlemen say goodbye. Rod will tell you what he's got going on. I will also tell you what I have going on. So here is Mr. Johnny.
All right, I do a morning show Monday through Friday at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I love helping others. I always love that special word in my chat when somebody says yet. I haven't did a YouTube channel video yet, or I haven't started selling on eBay yet. I love getting those words because then I know they're thinking about it. So when I do my shows in the morning, it's all about helping others, collaborating with others, and helping them to get, I enjoy helping others. So that's why I have Back to the Basics on my morning show. It's all Q&A. You can always come on in and ask questions. Every day is a different topic, or some days it's all topics all over the board. So Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I also drop the link in the chat to where you can always come up and promote your channel, and also join in the questions and what was going on for that particular day. Tomorrow is open panel, but Thursday is Q&A all about Poshmark. So definitely come and check it out, and hope you can enjoy it. I also have a lot of how-to videos. Also check out, I did a video today. I don't use like Vendu and List Perfect, but I do use Flip. I did put out a video today on how does it work, how to set it up, and how to share if you're using it for Posh. Every Monday night, I do a fun night bingo night, and that's at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Wednesdays is my hump day auction. That's at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I do have three co-hosts and one guest on that one. And then every first Tuesday and third Tuesday of the month, I do a featured showcase of our members of our channel, and it's a showcase of members that are on the panel are all members, and all are welcome to come in, and you can bid, chat, just enjoy the time. We do have a lot of fun. And then on Saturdays, I am co-host with Hoosier Stacker with the Silver Stacker Bingo, and that's on his channel. That's Hoosier Stacker, and we do bingo games for about 2.5 hours sometimes, and you can win silver. And I am co-host on that every Saturday, and it's at 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you ever have any questions, I would love to see y'all in my show. I do have some videos that hit viral, and it's a lot of how-to videos. So again, I hope to see y'all in the chats, and come on over and check us out.
Perfect. Here's Dougie.
That's it all, folks.
It's a tough act to follow, Johnny. But first of all, thanks, Johnny. Thanks, Rod. Thanks, Kat, for having me on. I had a lot of fun. This was awesome. And thanks, everybody, for the great questions and for coming by tonight. I am the co-host of the Seller Community Podcast at thesellercommunitypodcast.com. We have an episode that comes out every week on Wednesday mornings. This week is focused on Boss Reseller Remix. I'm going to be at a bunch of seller events coming up. I'll be at FlipCon with Rod this week and the List Perfectly team. I will be at Boss Reseller Remix in Vegas in October. I'll be at Posh Fest. I'll be at eBay Open in Atlanta. So hope to see you there. Would love to touch base with you. I also have a fun music podcast if you want to listen to that. It's called The Albums That Saved Us. And so it just goes back on, early musical memories, things like that. And that's kind of one of the spots where I cut my podcast teeth. And then if you have questions or you want to reach out, it doesn't have to be List Perfectly related, can be eBay related, things like that. You can always reach me at doug@listperfectly.com. And then definitely check out Listing Party, listingparty.com. That's List Perfectly's online community where you can create profiles, connect with other sellers. And then we literally have 24/7 live chats, live shows going on with sellers that talk about selling, answer questions, do different kinds of support, platform related. It's not just List Perfectly related. And I have a show, the Snoop Dougie Show, every other Wednesday at noon Pacific. And I just talk about, we kind of talk about pop culture stuff, music, selling, and selling sometimes comes up, but a lot of times we just talk about the topic, different things. I've had some guests on, and I will have some other guests, cool guests soon coming up. So thanks, everyone.
Perfect. Rod, what's going on, my friend?
Can you make me big just for this one moment? Because I got to show something here.
Yeah.
So those that don't know, I had a big announcement on my channel this week. We had two big announcements. Number one here is the Scoundrel beer has officially been released. All right. So that those don't know, there's a brewery up in Pennsylvania called the Lost Tavern Brewing. They're having a big festival up there called the Music Fest. There's usually about 1.2 million people that attend there. And they brought this back. This was based on my wrestling character. They made it back in 2021. It's a key lime pie sour. So if you are up in the Lehigh Valley, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Philadelphia area, go check it out. All right. Also, too, is I launched the second channel, and it's going to be more focused on behind the scenes, focusing on reselling, focusing on tutorials, and helping out, real similar to what we do here, how we're answering questions. But it's not going to be any Q&A. It's going to be me more or less showing you what happens behind the scenes from a full-time reseller. So I'll drop a link in the chat here for that. As always, you guys can reach me out on Facebook, Instagram. I will answer any questions you guys have, picking and punching right there. Also, too, check out my new video. I dropped a new video this afternoon. Went to a flea market, and if you like old stuff from the 70s and 80s, we found tons of stuff from A-Team to $6 Million Man to tons of things like that. And also, if you're at FlipCon this week, please come up and say hi.
Perfect. All right. I will be live on Whatnot tomorrow and Thursday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern because Dalton's starting school, so it's a little bit later. I'm hoping to get him in bed earlier. Tomorrow's Vintage Estate. Thursday is Sterling. I have opened up my one-on-one coaching program. I have not done any since last year. It is limited spots. You can send me an email, thenurseslipper@yahoo.com, and I can give you more info. I can do it on eBay, Posh, Whatnot, whatever, YouTube, whatever you want. We can do it one-on-one. So I have everything from a consultation call to a year of coaching. So you can email me about that. And I want to say thanks to Johnny and Doug for coming on with us, and Rod, as always, for being here as my co-host. Next week, we will have Katie and Vicky, as well as Teresa Cox, on with us. So that will be a fun show next week. So make sure you guys join us. And you said it. Excited for my resin show. Look, I haven't made resin in 3 weeks. Look at these new keychains with the little meadow. Which way do I go?
Right,
Aren't they
you
so
have the
cute?
contact right there.
So I make resin things. This is some of the ones. Those will be available on Friday. I haven't made anything in 3 weeks until those today. So I'm excited to be back doing those. So I appreciate all of you being here and supporting myself as well as Rod and our guests. And we will see you guys next Tuesday. Bye for now, guys.